Welcome to the Candle Business Coach podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I am the Candle Business Coach. I'm also a mum of three and a kindness advocator. This podcast is all about making and selling candles, business development, and mindset, delivered to you with advice, inspiration, and motivation in a new episode every Friday. This episode is brought to you by the membership for candle makers, the Candle Makers Collective. Becoming a member gives you access to fortnightly online group Q&A coaching sessions to support you, monthly online workshops and trainings to help you grow your business, plus frequent expert guest speakers to inspire and teach you. You'll also have access to an ever-growing resource library with templates, guides, planners, and ebooks. But my favorite aspect of the membership is our exclusive Facebook group for accountability, connection, and support. So if you're looking to take your candle business to the next level and learn more about the membership for candle makers, click the link in the show notes for the Candle Makers Collective. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. Gosh, what a whirlwind the last couple of weeks have been. It feels like a long time ago now, but it was really only a week and a half ago that the 2024 Australian Soaping and Candle Conference was run. It was run on the 25th of March, and I'm recording this on the 4th of April, so a week and a half ago. Now, I would love to say that I attended the whole day and was able to enjoy the company of everyone there and really immerse myself in the experience. But unfortunately, I got sick halfway through the day, actually not even halfway. And so it was a little bit disappointing missing out on most of the conference. It was something I was counting down to and looking forward to for such a long time. And these things happen. Sometimes we get sick and we can't do the things that we want to do when we're unwell. We must take care of our health and prioritize our recovery. So that was a little disappointing, but I will take you back to the night before the conference. The Sunday night, there was a few of us that came down to Brighton and helped set up for the actual conference the night before. So we went out for dinner with a few of us and then went to set up the conference, which was really lovely. So of course, Rhonda Nelson was there and her lovely husband, Chris. And then we also had Chrissy from Blossom Gum Soapery, Kate from Weave and Grace Candlelight Co., the team from Craft 360, and the beautiful Marie Raymer from Humble Bee and Me. So we enjoyed a lovely meal together and got to spend a little bit of time chatting about how excited we were for the conference and what we were looking forward to the most. And then, of course, after dinner, we went upstairs to the function room and was able to set up the tables, set up the room, set up everything, make sure it all looked perfect and beautiful for everyone that was attending in person. And of course, everything needed to be organised for the online guests as well. So the day of the speech all started off well. I was feeling fine, a little bit nervous, of course, having to do my speech. And this was the first public speaking engagement that I have done with, I guess, anything in life, but particularly with my Candle Business Coach business. And so I was feeling a little bit nervous and a little bit funny in the tummy. And I thought it was just nerves, but as I mentioned before, I did end up leaving early because I was unwell. So that was a bit disappointing, but I luckily was able to do my speech and I got to meet a couple of the guests at the conference, which was so delightful and so much fun. And I thoroughly enjoyed being in the environment of other candle makers and soap makers and other crafty entrepreneurs that are wanting to experience more for their life and live out their dreams by following their passions. So it was amazing getting to meet a few people. I was also able to hear the beautiful Felicity from Long Story Short, hear her speech as well. And she spoke about labels and how important branding is well and how Long Story Short can help with anyone that has a candle or skincare business or soap business or anyone that needs any design, graphic design or labels printed. But of course, I can't forget to thank Rhonda for her tireless efforts for organising the conference and for putting the day together. And it's the third year that the conference has run, which is just incredible. And being there for only a couple of hours, I was able to see just how incredible her commitment, dedication and passion for creating this community and this space of connection and collaboration, and being able to be in her presence and be in the presence of the guests was a true privilege and one that I'm very grateful for, even though I was only there for a couple of hours. I also wanted to chat about a couple of other things in today's episode, more of just a bit of a recap of some of the offerings I have as the Candle Business Coach and some exciting news for not next week's podcast, but the week after. We'll be starting our Candle Maker Connections episodes, and this will be the first episode in the series where I'm hoping to do one episode a month in this series, and it basically will be myself and a few other lovely candle makers coming together to chat about all things candles. It could be to do with candle making and the actual mechanics and technicalities, or it could be to do with business or motivation and accountability. It'll basically just be a recorded chat between friends. And I think it'll be a nice addition to the podcast to have a few different voices coming through to your ears through the podcast. So if we look at the podcast, if we zoom out and have a look at it from a month to month perspective, there'll be one solo episode per month. There'll be one Candle Maker Connection episode, and then still my 2 episodes per month where I have a guest. So basically that's the rundown moving forward of how the podcast will be going ahead, rather than having alternate solo episodes and guest episodes. You'll be hearing from me solo, singularly. I'm not quite sure what that word is, but you'll be hearing from me, like just me, 1 episode per month rather than 2 episodes per month. And that's because I have looked at the statistics of the analytics of the podcast and which episodes seem to be more of interest and the feedback that I get, and it tends to be more of the guest episodes. And I think the guest episodes and the Candle Maker Connections episodes will be really lovely to be able to bring those conversations to life through the podcast. And then, yes, you can still hear from me once a month as I just update what's going on in the Candle Business Coach world, anything that I feel inspired to create for you, or if there are any questions that need to be answered that I can answer for you, I can certainly do those in the solo episodes as well. So I also wanted to remind you, just in case you've just jumped on the podcast bandwagon, you may not have listened to previous episodes and you may not have checked out the show notes, but I do have a few ebooks that are available to help you on your candle making journey. So I've got 3 ebooks, all are $7 each. There is a wholesale guide, market stall guide, and a social media planner. Now, all of these resources, all these ebooks, as well as a lot more resources, is included for free in the Candle Makers Collective membership, which is my monthly membership for candle makers, funnily enough. And it's a really great way for you to understand a little bit more in depth, so to do a bit more of a deep dive into wholesale, how to run a market stall, and of course the social media side of things. So of course I'm open to suggestions if you have any other ideas as to what ebooks and what resources you'd love me to create for you. I know that not everyone has the time to do the research themselves and to sift through all the numerous websites and articles and Facebook groups, posts, and all the things to try and get answers to questions. So my ebooks that I create are dedicated to concisely sharing that information in an easy to digest way. So as I said, all those ebooks are available. I'll pop the links in the show notes. And of course, if you join the Candle Makers Collective membership, you will get all those ebooks for free. I also wanted to share, again, in case you haven't been listening to the podcast for a little while, that I have created a free candle business startup guide. And the link for this is in the show notes. This is basically, I call it a guide, but it's basically just a lot of information that is helpful and dedicated, again, to helping you on your journey. This is more geared towards newer candle makers, but there is still information in there if you've been a candle maker for a little while that may be able to help you on your journey. It just depends on what you actually need help with, but it's a free download that you can access via the link in the show notes. Other than that, they were all the updates I wanted to share with you today. And if you have any suggestions on podcast episodes, or if you're interested in being one of the candle makers in the Candle Maker Connection episodes, I'd love to hear from you. So please message me on Instagram at Candle Business Coach. And then if you're wanting to be involved, I can send you some more details, and then we can get you on the podcast on an ongoing basis, which I think is really a fun way to get to meet other candle candle makers, to try your hand at something different and putting yourself outside your comfort zone. If you've never thought to be on a podcast before, you might get bitten by the podcast bug, as I have, and many of the other candle makers I've spoken to that have been on the podcast as well love being on the podcast and sharing their thoughts and wisdom and wise words. And I think it's just nice to have a space to be able to share what you think and feel about business, about candle making, and how to support others along their journey. But other than that, that's all I wanted to share with you this week. I hope you are doing well. I hope that you're feeling healthy and well, unlike I was a week and a half ago. Let's just say when gastro hits your family, it hits the family hard, and it's not a fun week, and you feel like you're in this weird time loop where you don't know what day it is or what time it is because you just feel out of it, and it's just not a nice feeling, especially when you've got kids at home and they get impacted by that as well. But anyway, I won't go into that too much, but I will say that we are all healthy and well, back to full health. Very grateful to be healthy, and certainly something to appreciate when you do have your full health. So yes, I hope you're doing well, and I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you, my friend, for listening to this episode. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout the conversation, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling inspired, I would love it if you would write a review for the podcast and give a 5-star rating. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.